O'Reilly. Are your wiper blades chattering, skipping, or squeaking? Don't let streaks or smearing on your windshield compromise your visibility. When it's time to replace your wiper blades, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and see our selection. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades while you wait. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
There's nothing like snook hook sets at dawn or catching a tarpon in the moonlight. Find your next fishing trip made easy on fishingbooker.com and experience the magic of the Sunshine State or any other destination on your fishing bucket list. Book a blue water adventure in search of sailfish or go snapper fishing with the kids. With over 6,000 captains and trips to choose from, planning your next one just got a whole lot easier. Download the Fishing Booker app on the Google Play or App Store, or visit them online at fishingbooker.com to book your trip today. You ever get that feeling the walls closing in, the concrete jungle suffocating you? You crave some wide open spaces, the chance to connect with nature, maybe in a spot all your own. Well, head over to land.com. They've got ranches, forests, mountains, streams, you name it. Search by acreage. You can search by location. You can search by the kind of hunting and fishing you're dreaming of. Land.com. It is where the adventure begins.
The Hunting Collective is presented by Element.
I guess I grew up on an older road.
Hey, everybody. Phil is mad at me because you hear my voice.
Well, I had a great start to my day.
Yeah.
Had a cup of coffee,
Yep.
some toast, and a banana.
Yep.
I listened to some music on the way in. It's a beautiful day in Bozeman, clear, sunny.
It is nice.
I walked in the studio looking
nice.
to say hi to my pals Janis and Ben.
Yep.
And Ben's like, Phil, hi. And I'm like, oh no.
Phil, it's fine.
The
It's
alarm bells go
fine.
off.
It's fine.
I got a rapid test.
Well, I didn't know about rapid testing was 60%. Why would I even get the test if it's 60%?
It's a great question.
It's 60% accurate, right?
Yeah,
it's not 60% failure. Why even
it's
get
about-
it
yeah,
if
sure.
it's 6 out of 10
Well,
times? It's right.
You should be calling in via Squadcast.
Well, now I feel awful.
Well, it's too late now, so let's just start the show, Ben.
I
God.
didn't know that. I had no idea that I could be spreading an illness when I thought I slept outside on yesterday. Saturday night I slept outside.
It's been getting chilly. Sure.
It was cold.
That's probably it.
It snowed on me for like 4 hours Sunday morning in the mountains where I was, 9,000 feet. So I'm attributing it to that, but I'm also tested negative, and other people my wife is tested negative. So I'm like, I'm good. Just got a little scratchy throat.
You're probably good, but it's
now-
just the paranoia, man.
I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. I'm not. There's nothing. Be ruining a lot of lives. Anyway, Jani's sitting in the right seat. We had a little issue. My normal seat in the podcast studio is right next to your normal seat in the podcast studio, and that would be awkward conversationally.
Mm-hmm.
I feel.
My neck would hurt after 5 minutes.
Yeah, we would be looking over. I'd be looking over my left shoulder at you. But now we're in a good spot. We're seeing each other. Looking right in your eyes. Welcome, Janis. Welcome back to, this is attempt number 2, episode number 2 of ATE/THC.
Yeah.
You excited?
ATE featured on THC. Yeah, I don't know. What was the feedback for
It was great.
The first one?
It was the most listened to episode we've done in quite a while.
No.
Yeah. Yep. It was. Actually, the most
Well,
listened
who
to
did
episode.
you interview, though, after me?
A lot of famous people. Troy and Jacob Landry, the most famous gator hunters in the world. You beat the pants off of them.
No. Who was on the episode that I did? Who was on afterwards that you interviewed?
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
That's how much we pay attention.
It was
I don't
on
listen to
this
the
guy
show.
named Don Trump,
Phil's like, nah,
Mr. President.
Yeah.
No. Oh, it was Valerius Geist. That could have had something to do with it. He's a well-known figure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the combination of the two is perfect. So maybe we'll have him back every time we do Ask the Eagle.
Yeah. I always like mentioning Val Geist's shirker hypothesis.
Explain what that is for us while I look up
That's
phone numbers.
This is Val Geist's thing. And I've mentioned it to some mule deer biologists. They don't really think that it's a thing. But he had this idea that the way that some bucks got to be huge is that they would shirk their responsibilities to the rut for multiple years. Thus, they could, instead of wasting all that energy, they would save that energy plus pack on more energy. They would basically just sit there by themselves on the side of the hill and get big and fat. Then, once their buddies that were, they're all the same age roughly, they'd been participating in the rut and getting worn down and having to replace those, worn out reserves over the winter and barely making it through a winter. After 4 or 5 years of that, they could walk off the mountain just as healthy and studly as can be, giant antlers, and just whoop everybody's butt and spread their genes across the whole herd.
That was my method for college. I could leave college full of energy. I didn't have to deal with any of that other stuff. That's why.
Until your senior year, when you went berserk, you shirked your responsibility for 3 years.
Yeah.
To the ladies of what college did you go to?
Montana State University, Bozeman, Benjamin.
Bozeman, right down the street. Well, anyway, I think the reason I have this scratchy throat is because I was out elk hunting. It was a massive, I was telling you, Jani, a massive failure. But you have a story that it was not a failure.
You can't say massive failure. You saw elk.
I did see elk. But I knew where the elk were prior to going there. I knew they would be in that zone somewhere. In that drainage somewhere. They would be there. I knew that. I've never went there and there weren't some elk there. But I did travel a couple of hours from my house Saturday night, but by myself. I was like, I like to do at least 1 or 2 solo hunts a year. And I went by myself. I drove. I hiked up to where I hunted elk last year around the same time period, late September, and found elk immediately. They were further away than I wanted them to be. They were probably 2 miles away. And then I went to sleep, got up in the morning, snowstorm. It's great. It's a great night. You never sleep in the sleeping bag where you just had to pull the whole sleeping bag up over your face and lay on your stomach and just hope that no cold air.
That you're going to stay warm enough.
Yeah, that's what.
No tent, huh?
I had a tent, but it was cold, man. The wind, it was probably 30, 35, 40 mile an hour winds at times, gusting too. And the temperature dropped a lot.
You know what a good trick for that is, man? I have 2.
I think I know one of them, but
the Chama hoodie.
Oh yeah.
Because that hoodie it comes down pretty far in front, so you can stretch it a little bit, and it comes down dang close to coming over your nose. Then the other one is just the the lightweight wool net gator from First Light. I'll pull that thing and just have it completely cover my face.
Well, normally I have lots of techniques for this, but I just wasn't expecting it. But yeah, I'll wear a full un compadre puffy and just in my sleeping bag if I have to. And the boiling water and the Nalgene trick.
Oh, buddy.
That's a good time.
That saved my tush on that Wyoming mule deer hunt last year because I forgot to swap sleeping bags. And I wanted to go with 0, and I rolled in with a 15, and not enough. But yeah, no, that thing got so hot a couple times I had to sleep with it open. My bag open till it would cool off.
I'll take the hand warmers and put them down by the feet area. It's quicker than the whole boiling the water thing. So if you're just how you get back from a hunt, you're just so cold and you're so tired, all you want is a sleeping bag and you don't care. Well, if you pre-stage a couple of hand warmers right by your sleeping bag in your tent, you get in, shake them babies up, put them in the bottom, and then get in the sleeping bag. So you don't have to mess around with the water, get wet.
Were you in Grizz country?
Ish. Not heavy Grizz country, but close. Just a valley.
Pretty ballsy hunting solo in the Grizz country.
Well, yeah. And as I told you, I glassed up these elk. Like, oh man, I'll get over there. It's gonna take me a while. I had to get up and down a couple of ridges, and it took me about an hour and a half to get over there in the morning. So I got over there just as light was breaking. Glass these elk up. It's a squall snowstorm. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see over there. I might have to just go over there and sit and wait till they stand up out of their beds and hear them. So I got across the ridge from them, glassed them up. They were a little further back than they were in the morning. So they'd moved back 1,000 yards back up this bowl. So I go over there and I'm like, well, I'm going to drop down and come back up the other side. So I do. And in the time that I dropped down and went back up the other side, it took me about an hour to hike a mile. And it was straight up. I'm going straight up this hill, got my trekking poles out. I get to a little bench on the hill where I knew that they were. I'm like, man, I'm going to put my trekking poles away, get my bow out, get set up here. I have my little Fred Eichler decoy, cow decoy. So got that out, staged all that up. Was getting ready to call, and I look over to my right, and there's a gut pile. A fresh one. I mean, from yesterday, probably. Still, I heard a bunch of crows and ravens, and I was looking around, I thought, that's not good. And I looked to my right, there she was. So it obviously was like maybe the day before that somebody killed an elk in there. Mm-hmm. I didn't go close enough to it to see if it was an elk or a mule deer, because it is a limited, it's like a draw mule deer unit, but it's an open elk unit. I didn't go close enough to see exactly what was what, because I was like, there are grizzlies around. I'm going to go ahead and take a wide berth.
Yeah.
Go up this hill and see if I can find an elk, not mess around this zone. But never found the elk, did find some moose, found a ton of mule deer, ton of elk sign, nothing.
Have you gotten to full draw yet this archery season?
No. It's been tough. I all you people that have had success, you included, I don't dislike you, but it is frustrating.
It's hard to be in the 90% tile that are unsuccessful. And
I will say, like, I've been out, I don't know, 11 or 12 days probably total, if you add it all up. Maybe a little bit less if you just count like just hunting a morning, not a full day. And we had a couple of close calls, as folks heard last week with Clay Newcomb in the breaks. Mm-hmm. A couple of close calls, but other than that, it's not that I messed anything up, that I was in a place where there was no elk, or I couldn't find them, or I missed, or I didn't draw at the right time, or as you were explaining a little bit before we hit record, that, the elk just didn't do the right thing. He was nothing. I mean, yeah, yesterday's spot that I went to was very much a spot that I was like, I'm gonna save this until this time frame, because last year we went in here and it was on at this this weekend time frame, last weekend ish in September. I know every time I go there's elk somewhere in this bowl, somewhere in the space, and I know that they're there. I know.
But I would think just about every other ridge should be on right now.
I didn't hear. I mean, the weather was what it was.
Yeah.
But I think, if bulls are on, if they're rutting, a little snow and wind isn't going to totally shut them off.
No. But, the wind's harder to hear them.
Yeah. That's what I figured. So I'm like, well, I'm going to bomb into the spot where I know that they are and just make some noise. I, bugled, break trees, stomped around, did a little cow party. When I was telling you, I got back to the truck. Shout out to the 2 trucks that were at the lower parking spot in this area that were both BHA license plates, both with meat eater stickers, both with Vortex stickers as well in the truck.
Not a secret spot.
No, not a secret spot. There's gut piles everywhere, and dudes that listen to our podcasts hanging out. It's not great. We've made our own bed there to sleep in, but it was fine. I mean, I was driving back out of this country. I hiked 16 miles because I was pissed off, and I was like, I'm gonna hit every finger ridge. I'm going to hit every stand of timber, and I'm just going to bugle my face off. And if there is an elk in there, he's going to have to tell me no. Like, he's going to have to actively dismiss me, because I'm going to find these bastards. I ran across a bunch of moose, mule deer everywhere, on their feet during the snowstorm. Mule deer just walking around. But no elk, other than the ones I saw from.
Well, you still have 2 weeks left.
I do. And
long archery season here, and I can tell you, a lot of people are in your boat. Man, their feet are tired, and their hall passes are used up. So the woods should just be emptier.
They were pretty empty going into this spot, because you got to drive like an hour on a kind of a dirt road. That the only reason you drive down it would be to recreate or to hunt or something. I mean, it's not a through road; it doesn't go anywhere. And so there wasn't, there's one camp where there's normally 15 camps, and so I could just tell that it's wearing on folks, but it's not wearing on me. I'm not mad at the failure. I'm happy to document it here so people know. I've been in places where there's elk. I've been in places where other people have killed elk. Obviously, I know that they're there. I know that they've been on the rut at some point, or they will be at some point. It just hasn't happened.
I took off of September and probably in like, oh man, it was probably like 09 or 10, and quit guiding fishermen as soon as hunting season opened up. And I got 26 days in that September, Colorado archery elk. Some of them were half days. No, that's not true, because I was still guiding a little bit. And so I would guide in the morning, get out in the afternoon, or vice versa. But 26 days I put in, and then I killed a cow on the 26th day.
Yeah, man. That's probably what's going to happen to me. And I'm not afraid to hunt them with a rifle either, but it's one of those years where I need to do a little call in front of you, Jani, so you can grade out how you think my progress is going. It was one of those years where I'm like really dialed in with that. It sounds good to my ears. So I'm confident in that. I was confident with my archery equipment. I doubled the amount of practice I did last year, and last year I did plenty of practicing with the old stick and string. So this was like a year where I'm like, man, I think this is gonna come together. But then you talk to guys like Randy Newberg, who I can't remember the number of years he went before killing an elk in Montana, but the story he tells is it was a long time, 8 to 10 years or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, but you have to quickly, before we get to our Ask the Eagle listeners, we're going to call them. We do kind of a reverse call-in show here. You got to tell us quickly your story of your first archery bull.
Yeah. That was in Colorado. 3 weeks ago. I'm trying to think what the date was. It might have been like the 6th or 7th. Yeah. I think I killed it.
We should get to the point where, like, how is this possibly, of all the elk guiding and all the time you spend in elk country, how could this possibly be your first archery elk?
Well,
bull?
I stuck 2 of them with arrows 2 years ago, and one shot was perfect. And I had poor arrow performance is what I'm going to chalk it up to. I'm not going to get into the details, but I think I only got like half an arrow penetration. I think I got one long. And unfortunately, it snowed that I shot him at like 4 p.m., followed him. Well, I knew that this shot wasn't great, so I let him sit for a while, followed him, bumped him, backed out of there. Snowed like 8 inches that night, and we grid searched all day looking for just a bump under the snow, but never came upon him. And the other one, I made a really dumb shot where he was walking by me like top pin range, and instead of making a noise to stop him or waiting for him to stop, I just figured, I'll just follow him and touch off, and that put my arrow like 2 feet back of where it should have hit. So as far as I could tell, he made it. It went clean through him, but no rumen and no real blood and fat, so it kind of went in that zone.
Yeah.
I can't tell you if it was behind, or I'm guessing behind the diaphragm, right in front of the rumen. But anyways, yeah, a lot of guiding and a lot of going on other people's hunts, mostly Stephen Ranella's the last 6-7 years. And, it's not that I haven't been out there trying.
I know.
And I've killed a couple cows with the old bow, one of them being that one I told you about. But I've certainly missed a few bulls. I hunted the breaks twice back in like 07 and 09. And twice I missed bulls in there with my stick bow.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day Phil will, this could happen to you, Phil. You could hunt with us for like 6 or 7 years. And then eventually you could have your own show.
We'll see what happens.
Where is Phil's hunting?
Well, Phil, have you finished your hunter safety?
I have not, no.
Well, what the hell, Phil?
I'm in the middle of it. There's a lot going on right now.
Go ahead, Jani. Get him. Because he respects you more than me. Because last time you were in here, you gave him a little bit of something.
I thought you were serious about this.
Here we go. Okay.
No, I'm kind of serious. Are you going to do it or not? I thought you guys had a hunt planned.
Well, I have to wait for Phil. I mean, there's nothing I can do legally.
Oh, that's why you're going to take him to Texas, because he's not going to get his hunter safety and you don't need one down there.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Oh, you do in Texas?
You can just take it online. It's like a quicker one down there.
I am getting my hunter safety. I'm almost done.
He's gonna get it.
Get her done, Phil.
It's been going slowly.
I'm
Listen,
gonna defend Phil's.
we got a new podcast on the network. Check it out, Bent. It's been work. I've been, I got other hobbies. I got kids.
He's got video games to play.
Exactly. Thank you, Ben.
He's not gonna. He's almost to the grand finale of whatever game Mario Kart.
I don't want to hear that.
You're not a Mario. You wouldn't play Mario Kart.
Oh, I love Mario Kart.
You love Mario Kart.
It's not what I've been playing recently, though.
What have you been playing?
Hades, Destiny 2. I've been rewatching every movie directed by David Fincher. He's got a new one coming out.
Yeah,
this
you have
year.
no time.
I'm reading Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry.
Well, that's a good thing. I do back that, but I can't. I got to get on.
Listen,
I can't. For my own. I mean, people are listening to this. I think some will listen to this, and I got to get on you for this. I mean, you can't be playing video games and not be. I mean, Jani, back me up here.
No.
But
everybody has their own priorities. And look, praise, like Steve says, praise golf. And I guess now we can praise video games too because
less hunters
to compete with.
You're welcome.
But then again, we want more hunters, remember?
Well, I've been thinking about revising that. Especially when I saw that gut pile. I was like, damn. And then I saw those 2 trucks with the meat eater stickers. Like, well, I think we should start campaigning for like the same amount of hunters, but just more acceptance of hunting in society.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, that's my new. I know that goes against everything I've ever said ever, but people change.
Yeah, the R3 folks aren't going to be happy.
They're not going to like that. No, no.
Ben, I promise you, and Jani, because you seem concerned as well.
He's extremely concerned.
I'm going to finish my hunter safety.
Okay, next episode.
Yes.
I mean, Corinne.
Yes.
Corinne, your counterpart here in podcast land.
Yeah, sure. I love
She's
Corinne.
got like every time I talk to somebody, they're like, "Oh yeah, Corinne's coming down hunting next week, or in December she's coming down hunting, and she's gone hunting right now today, I believe, somewhere."
She's on the circuit.
That's great. How many kids does Corinne have?
Good point. Good point.
How many video games does she play?
Exactly.
Is she reading Larry McMurtry books?
Oh.
The whole canon of Larry McMurtry books? She's not that busy. No, she's definitely on the circuit, man. Every time I talk to her, she's like, where are you going next? Can I go? I'm like, yeah.
No, Corinne's diving in. I love seeing it. She's excited.
Is she grouse hunting right now?
It's great.
Do you know where she is right now? Grouse hunting? Corinne, the producer?
Some sort of bird.
Well, whenever you finish that hunter safety course,
it's got wings.
You're gonna want to be able to identify the different game birds.
Yeah. All right. So,
yeah, please. I'm sorry.
Did I explain to you why I haven't killed more bulls?
Yeah. Yes. Steve Rinell's fault.
It's all his fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got to plan a hunt down in southern Colorado, and I went and invited our buddy Jason Phelps from Phelps Game Calls. And I tell you what a treat to hunt elk with somebody that has thought about calling elk a lot more than I have. And I've thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
But he's thought about it a lot more. And it was impressive to watch and listen. And he almost is to the point where it kind of seemed like a couple times he was just like the puppeteer, and the bull was like the
puppet.
Isn't it marionette? What am I missing here?
Marionette has strings.
Yeah.
And it hangs.
Yeah.
But I think you can still call a person who works a marionette a puppeteer.
Okay.
But we might get in some angry emails from your big puppet.
You guys get the point
out there.
We had a big audience here.
You get the point. I mean, we're literally like in the moment. Bull's coming in.
Yeah.
And Jason's like calm and cool enough to be like, he didn't like that last one. Let me try this. Does another, thing, a little special, little chuckle. Bull does something. He's like, I think you like that. I'm going to do it again. Does it again. Bull's just like walking towards me. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely reading him and reacting and making it happen. So yeah, we thought we were going to have a sweet private land hunt. A friend of mine hooked us up with a nice ranch to hunt on. And the ranch was dead.
Really?
Dead. Like crickets. There was elk on the ranch. They were bugling in the middle of the night, but an hour before daylight, we were getting up early just to go and listen to see if we could get on them. But an hour before daylight, it was crickets, and they were just going to bed early. We found a bull one evening, bedded right until dark. He stood up out of his bed pretty much as shooting light ended. I couldn't see my pins anymore. So we had to adjust. And we just said, you know what? Let's go into the high country and see what happens. So we had been hunting around like 8,000 to 9,000 feet. And we're like, all right, let's go up to 10, 11.
Yeah.
We hiked in there. And as soon as we got in there the first day, 4 p.m., 4 bulls bugling. And we had packed to stay the night. Got in on, I think, a bull. Jason called him to probably 70, 60. A little bit out of my range. Let him walk. We camped out. Next morning, took us, 30 minutes to get an answer, a bugle. And another 10, 15 minutes later, here he came walking down the, not really a trail, kind of just like an opening alleyway, kind of just, pretty thick stuff we were in, but there was just like this little meadow, and he came right down it. And interestingly, I'd never done this, hadn't really seen it done in person, but Jason and I had been talking about it beforehand. It was the frontal shot.
Oh, yeah.
And he had told me the last 4 out of 5 bulls he's killed, he shot, right above the sternum, basically. And so this bull's walking in, and I'm thinking, man, there's a good chance that that's going to be the first opportunity I get, And I'm like, yeah, if Jason said it's good, it'd be good for me. Yeah. It's a small window. I was going to have a close shot. It ended up being probably, 15 to 17 yards, something like that.
Yeah, what kind of penetration to reach the vitals? Because I've done frontal shots with a rifle, but never, I don't think with archery.
Yeah. It's interesting. I did that, had such good success. The bull runs off. Jason bugles once, and we hear a loud crash as soon as his bugle ends. And usually you bugle right when you hit an animal with an arrow, or an elk with an arrow, to sort of like confuse them / calm things down, because a lot of times when they hear that bugle, they're like, oh, what was that? I forgot about that sharp thing that just went through me, And it's the whole purpose is to make them not run as far, slow them down a little bit. Hopefully they get woozy and just fall over dead. So he does that, and immediately we hear a crash. Had I just stepped out into the opening and looked up, I would have seen him piled up there, but we didn't move. We're just like, all right, cool, let's give it 45 minutes. Even though we think it was a great shot, let's give it 45 minutes and we'll go look. So we found him, and I'm like, holy cow, that worked well. Through another story, I ended up getting I talked with a large animal vet that is a big proponent of this shot, and kind of interviewed him, being like, well, what did I hit? What's all in there? And man, he's saying that just initially on impact, right next to the trachea there, you have 2 major arteries, right? So hopefully you could be slicing those. Then at that point, you go between the lungs, where you have a major artery that enters the lungs there, right? Or you could be hitting either part of the front end of the lobe of the lungs. If you're a little bit lower than that, you're going to be clipping the top of the heart,
I was gonna say,
major artery, Then you're back into the liver, punching through the diaphragm, and, after that, you're into the rumen, which isn't going to do much damage. But he said the same thing. He thinks it's roughly a 6x8 square, 6 inches wide, 8 inches tall, and he only takes that shot 20 yards and under, because he's like, it's not a broadside elk where you're looking at almost 18 by 18 inches, much bigger target.
For anybody that hunts turkeys with a bow, you're shooting, a lot of times your aim point there, that's a similar size, 6 to 8 inches probably, 6 to 8 inch square, similar size. If you're shooting for the wing butt or right above the beard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and also elk are likely to be coming in frontal, and they're likely to be close if you're calling them in like you were. So that makes all the sense in the world to me. It seems like if you thought about it as much as you clearly have, it's plenty ethical and plenty effective.
Oh, I couldn't believe how effective. Like, I think the animal was dead in 3 to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, completely expired. The arrow went I ended up getting along. Definitely, I cut like 10 inches of the trachea as it went through there. And then, obviously, the liver. But the arrow went all the way through his rumen, and the broadhead stuck in one of his hams.
Wow.
Yeah, buddy. 550 grains.
All right, Matthews. All right.
Oh, I was very the greatest thing about this whole thing is to come out of a hunt where, like I said, I've missed bulls, I've hit bulls, not recovered them, but to come out and say, you know what, my equipment is dialed right now. I have so much confidence in the way that it works. Like, great arrow penetration, quick kill. It was accurate. Like, it just feels so good to have that confident feeling. It won't be long until I'll screw something
You'll
up.
fall back into it. But I do think once you get to that point, because I've been there before I feel like I'm there now. I just need one to do what I need to do the right thing. Then you can start to work around the small little idiosyncrasies, the little nuances of how your arrow flight, or if you're just trying to get one in the right spot, like be confident that when a bull's walking by at 20 yards, you can put the arrow where you need to. If you don't have full confidence that you can do that, it's hard to work on the little things, but with both like how your bow is working or what kind of arrow you're going to shoot, and to how, when you draw, how long you can hold it, all those things, it's kind of hard to work on if you're not confident in that end result. So once you feel confident, you can really start to dial it in.
Yeah.
And get to a point I'm not in now, but I've been in the past, where you really feel like if a shot is presented, it's going down.
Yeah. Well, you can focus on the hunt more,
Right.
and not really what your
Yep.
arrow is going to do or shot placement and all that, because you're feeling strong.
I was
there.
probably telling you last time, I was switching releases a lot this year. Just try playing around. Like if you're in that confident state, you don't do that. Like you don't even think about your release. It's not something that comes into your mind. It's just like it's a working part of the machine. It's like boom, 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 done.
Yeah. No, I have an archery hunt in November with my dad, rut whitetails, and I'm not going to change a thing. I'm just going to keep shooting and hopefully making good focused shots every time I pull the trigger.
All right. Well, congratulations on your first archery bull.
Hey, thanks. Thanks, Jason Phelps, for
man,
calling it in. That was sweet.
Gonna see it on Meat Eater Hunts.
That's right.
Soon. Good footage, everything.
Oh, it's going to be some of the finest
baby.
elk hunting footage I think we've ever put out.
That away. I'm excited. We have to wait a while, but we're still excited. Are we gonna put that out, you think, like in the off season to keep people titillated?
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be sometime next summer, but it'll be that perfect timing where I was telling you earlier. There's some stuff that comes out on YouTube as sort of like daily. What do they call them? Not live, but like semi-live like
hunts,
a day or two later when they do it. A lot of stuff I save, like the turkey season stuff. I save it to watch it in January when I'm like anticipating and getting all fired up. And
that's what this will be.
Yeah, because during turkey season, I don't want to watch someone else's turkey hunting. I want to go out there and do it myself. But it's a great way to get jazzed up and learn some stuff beforehand. So, anyways, it'll be sometime in the summer. It'll get y'all jacked up.
Oh, I'm darn. Yeah, I'm still jacked up every time I pack my truck and head out for elk or mule deer or whatever. Even though Montana has not been kind to me. Every time I go to another state, I fill my tag, but Montana specifically, it's not a curse yet. Need a few more years, but it's getting there.
Don't let that thought enter your mind.
I'm not. I did like Steve's line from the trailer for season 9, which is out now on Netflix, Meat Eater TV, where he said you have to act like an optimist, even if, right, like me right now, you're thinking like a pessimist. You're like, maybe it's just not my year, but it can be. If you just keep going.
Yeah, I'm glad I've at least turned him so much to the point that part of optimism enters his brain.
It took you years and years to go. And we're going to do a podcast coming up later this week, in fact, and so it likely will be the next one you listen to, about wounding animals. I believe you're going to take part in that, Janis.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have some other folks from the Meat Eater crew, Cal, Sam Lunger, and other folks. Because you saw it on the Colorado episode of Meat Eater TV. If you've watched on Netflix, it happens. Wounding animals, it happens to all of us, I think. I haven't met anyone that's a hardcore archery hunter that spends a lot of time doing it that hasn't had this happen.
Any kind of hunter. Even with rifles, man, they get away sometimes.
So I know there's plenty of people that are veteran hunters that listen to this, but there's a lot of people that are brand new or are getting into it or have been into it a couple of years. And we have Dearest Phil over here, who soon will be have a hunter safety card laminated in his wallet at all times. And we want to make sure that we talk about it as folks that have been doing it.
Next year, he'll join in on the wound loss conversation.
Yeah, he'll come in and be like, it's awful. And what did you make me do? But it's an important conversation. I think maybe our reputation is that we have it a little bit more than other folks, but that's not even the point. The point is we just want to look at the data. We're going to bring some data along. We've already been talking to some state game agencies and kind of sussing out how they look at wound loss and when they do tag allocations and things of that nature. So that will be next week or coming up here in the month of October as we sadly say goodbye to sweet September. All the failures. All right, we got some people coming up. Our last guest, Phil, is a surprise for you specifically.
I have a guess about who it could be.
You do?
I do.
All right, don't guess yet. Don't ruin it.
O'Reilly Auto Parts are in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offer friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for all your maintenance and repairs. If you're confused about what part you need, like what wipers are going to be the best, what replacement headlights are going to be the best, go into O'Reilly and talk to the people that work there because they're great and they're super friendly and they'll get you squared away where you walk out knowing you got the right thing. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you never have to worry if you're in a jam. Do you need your windshield wipers replaced? You need a brake light fixed? You need some quick service? They'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in-store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/MeatEater. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/MeatEater. There's nothing like snook hook sets at dawn or catching a tarpon in the moonlight. Find your next fishing trip made easy on fishingbooker.com and experience the magic of the Sunshine State or any other destination on your fishing bucket list. Book a blue water adventure in search of sailfish or go snapper fishing with the kids. With over 6,000 captains and trips to choose from, planning your next one just got a whole lot easier. Download the Fishing Booker app on the Google Play or App Store or visit them online at fishingbooker.com to book your trip today. You ever get that feeling you're stuck inside staring at screens and a primal urge kicks in? You crave wide open spaces, fresh air, the chance to connect with the land. Well, maybe it's time to find your own piece of the wild, but searching for property can be a maze. That's where land.com comes in. They got millions of listings across the country, from mountain ranches to hidden fishing holes. Their search tools are like a seasoned guide helping you narrow down what you want. Land.com isn't just about buying and selling. It's about finding a place to hunt, fish, explore, or simply sit by a campfire and listen to the crickets. So head over to land.com today to turn one day into today. Because trust me, there's nothing quite like the feeling of standing on your own piece of earth.
All right, our first guest on Ask the Eagle. What do we call? Are we saying episode 2, Jani? Part 2? What are we saying? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Justin Carson out of Texas. Justin, say what's up.
Howdy. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. We're gonna go ahead and let you rip your question. We're gonna try to keep this to 15 to 20 minutes. So rip away. Let Jani know what you would like to ask the Eagle.
Okay. Jani, as someone who is, I've grown up whitetail hunting and duck hunting locally, but kind of making a transition, hopefully, into going out west, doing more backcountry hunting. I'm just kind of curious, like gear storage solutions, travel, as far as what kind of, rigs you guys run with trucks, tents. Are you doing it all, backpacking in? Do you haul a camper back there? Just kind of those solutions. For me, we're going to Colorado on an elk hunt this fall. It's a 13-hour drive, so, we can't just run back to the house if we forget something. So just kind of curious if you guys use lifts, what kind of storage solutions y'all use in your vehicles, your backpacks. I know it's a pretty open-ended question, but we'd just love to see. I'm sure, you and Ben and the rest of the guys all have different ideas on what works and what doesn't. And just kind of curious what you guys use for all that.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great question. We could definitely write at least 2 chapters of a book to answer it. So let's maybe use your upcoming hunt as the example, and we can sort of give you some tips and tricks for that one in particular. I'm guessing you're going out for a rifle season?
We are. We're going up to Colorado. I actually didn't draw a tag this year, but my buddy did off of their property up there. And so I'm just going to kind of tag along, and I've never been on an elk hunt before, so it'll be a good way to learn the ropes and help them out.
Is it, do you know what season you're going?
Yeah, it's the late rifle season. It's the last week of October.
Last week of October. So is that is that second or third this year?
I believe it's third.
Third. Huh, and that's not an over-the-counter unit. You just can't buy a tag, huh?
Nope. Well, they did a second draw this year, and there's still none. After all that shook out, there's nothing over the counter available.
I
which,
see.
Is a bummer, but I'm kind of okay with it. I'll get a chance to go up there and learn what the heck's going on before I spend the money on the tag.
Right. And now you're hunting private?
Well, they have some land up there, but we spent time up there. They have elk that pass through, but not so much hang out. So I think we'll be venturing out into public land.
Got it. But you're going to use this property as like a base camp?
Well, that's kind of what we're curious. They do have a small cabin on it, so that'll be like home base, but we think we're going to have to reach out pretty far. So I'm sure we'll either be hiking out from there, or we might drive, pick up out to a different location and kind of set up like a tent camp a little bit further down the way.
Got it. Well, yeah. Let's see. Let's start with the rigs. When you say rigs, I'm guessing you're talking about like a truck, right?
Yeah.
Oh, tell your story about your truck, Jani. Yeah, tell Justin all about your truck search.
I'm not going to tell him about my...
He's going to buy a Darrell Waltrip edition Toyota Tacoma. It's got a red racing stripe down the side. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Who knew that he made that Toyota did a Darrell Waltrip edition?
Totally nonsensical.
2006.
Doesn't make any sense, the Darrell Waltrip Toyota Tacoma, but I digress. Continue.
I don't do anything too special as far as my truck goes. I've just got a camper, and I've got I think it's an 1 1/8 piece of plywood that's covered in just like that green fake carpet stuff, and I've got a contractor's window so I can actually slide it in through there, and it's like 3/4 of the length of my bed, and it just sits right on top of my truck bed rails, and if I want, I can take little C clamps and hold it down, but it's so heavy that it works there, and so it actually it's basically just a divider in a way, just to kind of keep it organized. So I kind of keep the clean, dry stuff up top, and then underneath it, it's got just enough height to slide in coolers, and any of the, wetter, nastier gear. I've got the shallow topper. It's not the one that pops up over your cab, And so for me,
I don't think they're old enough for that yet.
Old enough for that?
Steve has one.
No,
Steve has one.
I'm telling you, my next truck is definitely going to have it. Because when I crawl in there and I'm on my side, my shoulder is just about to touch the top of the camper, if I want to sleep in there. So it's a little bit tight. So usually if I'm going to sleep next to the truck, I'm going to pull out the, just the cot and the sleeping bag. And then if it's really cold, I might get into a tent or something. So yeah, as far as that goes, I don't know. I like to keep my stuff organized, so I'll probably have some Rubbermaid storage containers, with different kits in there, one for cooking and, one with food in it and whatnot. But yeah, you guys definitely going to need to make a plan on whether you're, if you're just hunting out of the truck, where you're staying, if you're going to go backpacking. That hunt is getting a little bit later into the season. So you could have some major weather, major snow, major cold temps, but man, October in Colorado also has like the knack of sometimes being very warm and like so warm that like it's not good for elk hunting.
Yeah, I've had a few of those.
Yeah.
2 of them, in fact, where we hunted water holes around this same time. Shot a bear. I had a buddy shoot a black bear over a water hole at like late October Colorado rifle season. Because that's the only thing we could do to hunt. It was 60, 70 degrees in the daytime. Yeah,
and all the critters got their winter coats on already.
Yep.
So they're all hanging on the north-facing slopes. They're not coming out to feed, except for very early and late in the day. But anyways, I would be prepared for both extremes. Like be prepared to be hiking around in a T-shirt midday, but also be prepared, with some gaiters.
Bundle up.
We
were there. We were actually up there we do an annual 4-wheeling trip in that area back in September. And on, the Sunday we were there, it was 91 degrees. And then Tuesday we got 12 inches of snow. So it's definitely, it's an interesting little region.
Welcome to the West. Yeah. I mean, I will tell you, what I've done. I've been doing this a lot this year, truck camping and backcountry tent camping and different things. I try to make sure I have like a staging idea when I go on a hunt. Our recent Missouri Breaks hunt was like this, where I start off with, I have the Yeti Go box. I have like a Yeti Go box with, if I'm in a truck camp, with all my gear in it, anything like flashlights, paracord, anything, extra knives, any kind of gear related stuff that's not in my pack is in one Go box. I have another Go box with all my cook stuff, anything, plates, forks, anything that you would need to cook from there. So that's two important things for me. I'll have a bin with all of my sleeping stuff. That includes, I usually bring like 2 sleeping bags, 2 tents, because you can never know what you're going to be dealing with. And then another bin, I put all my snacks and snack items, stuff like that. A lantern and a plastic table and a big giant Yeti cooler, Yeti 210, to put my food in. And if I kill an elk, that's where the elk will go. And so that's what the back of my truck looks like. But then I also try to understand like staging. If I'm camping with my truck, I don't sleep in the back of my truck. I don't have a capper on or top on it or anything. And so I have the Nemo Endurance, the 2-person expedition tent that it's super easy to set up. Takes you about 10-15 minutes. I usually just pull my truck up, pop that up, put my plastic table out, and then right next to that, I'll put that tent. And then I always have an ultralight tent in my pack or stashed somewhere in case I'm thinking, man, I'm going to probably spike out tonight. I have the Sky Air ULT, the ultralight Stone Glacier tent, which it just takes a couple of trekking poles, a couple of stakes to put up. And so that's how I do it. I try to make sure if I'm going to camp by the truck, I know I got everything there. But if I'm going to break out and go spike camp, I've got not only, a lighter sleeping bag, a lighter tent. I've also have, I know this is maybe a little bit first world to have 2 of everything, but that's what I try to do. And then from there, I try to make sure that I'm always going to have something to boil water with, something to cook with. I know you guys are using, what's the stove you guys have been using? The little...
Oh, the MSR reactor.
The reactor.
Yeah, I can't believe it took me so long to make the switch, man, from Jetboil.
Because Jetboil is like the ubiquitous, I feel. I don't know if Justin, if you have Jetboil or have something to cook up MREs and boil water.
Yeah, I've got an MSR, just a little pocket rocket.
No, there you go.
Years, that's all I'm saying, so.
Yeah, that's a good stove,
Those
too.
things take a beating. Yeah, those things are good.
Yeah, I don't know what Jetboil did, man. It must have been good marketing. That they got out in front of that reactor. But that reactor, you can't even walk away from it, and it's got water boiling.
Yeah.
I'm sold. So there's a good tip for you. If your pocket rocket breaks down. I'm trying to think of one other tip I could give for you. I guess, man, if you're going to go out for a little tour, just bring enough so that you can stay the night, maybe bring like an ultralight tent like Ben was saying, or maybe even just a tarp to get underneath and a sleeping bag. With just those things and like a little bit of extra food, you can always at least just do a quick bivvy. And that way you don't have to, you spend, I realize it more and more every year. It's like as soon as you're in there more than a couple miles, if it's anything more than an hour walk each direction, you're so much better off, man, just plopping down, resting, eating, and being right where the critters are in the morning. As opposed to having to walk all the way back out, because it never fails. You get back, then you have a couple beers, and then that motivation to get up as early as you need to get back out there and be there on time starts to wane, and it's just so much easier and slicker to stay the night out there.
Yeah, that's why you got to go into it. At the very least, you got to go into it with this idea that it's this utilitarian idea, like, oh, I can go back to the truck. I got a cooler full of beer, some chairs and a campfire. That's great. But if the hunting tells me I need to spike out, biv out, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and you might hit one, late and not find it. And, another good reason to stay out. Or you find him and, you don't want to, no reason to go pack it out in the middle of the night, especially that late in the year. Just, sleep next to the carcass and pack it out in the morning, when you're fresh and you can see where you're going and don't twist an ankle.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I would tell you, man, from living in Texas the time that I did and being, spend some time around the BHA chapter that's based there in Texas, there are a lot of people doing what you're doing, going from Texas to Colorado or Texas to Idaho or Montana or wherever. So there's a community of people down there. Certainly, if you're not already connected with the BHA chapter down there, I know for sure there's guys in that chapter, whether it's the Dallas, I know that's kind of closer to where you are, Justin, or where I was in Austin. It's a pretty common thing because obviously there's not a lot of public land elk hunts happening in old Texas, Tejas. So it's quicker to run and do what you're doing and run to Colorado. So the resources certainly are there with BHA specifically for this.
Justin, do you have any specific questions that we didn't hit on, or anything specific we can touch on before you go?
No, I mean, that pretty much covers it. Like I said, I've talked to Ben. You guys, you do an excellent job, and any other resource you look at, shows you how to find elk or hopefully find them and put them down. I've just always been more curious on y'all's end. Like Jani, you touched on, using a camper shell on your pickup truck and those kind of details. You just don't really see. You talk to anybody about elk hunting, they'll tell you all about the chase, but not so much how they got there and how they stayed there and what made it an effective hunt. That's what, that's kind of why I wrote into Ben, was just curious about those types of things. You get on Instagram, there's a million different storage ideas with deck solutions or truck vaults and tents for the camper shells and all that kind of stuff. So I was just kind of curious to get y'all's opinions and what makes a successful hunt for you guys.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what my dream, I'll tell you what my dream is. What I don't currently have, but I really want to do is I want a deck system in my truck. And I want a Go Fast camper topper. You know about that, Jani?
I've heard of them.
GFC.
I haven't looked into them.
So yeah, Go Fast camper. You can look it up. It's a topper, but it also has a built-in tent. It's like a 45-degree angle pop-up tent.
Mm-hmm.
It has Tempur-Pedic panels. I rented a truck that had this one time. Like Tempur-Pedic panels, you pop the panels out. You can stand up basically in the back of your truck. So if you had a deck system for all your gear, and then you had this camper top, you literally you'd have a mobile, in terms of drive your truck, park it, pop the camper up, and you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm headed, because I think that's
the only reason I'm not too sold on the tents in the truck though is that I feel like oftentimes I'm using the truck to hunt in the morning, right? Like if for a fact every single time you go out and you're just like, well, I'm just going to get up and then walk away from the truck and go on my hunt. Great. But it just seems like after 2 days of hunting, you're like, well, we hunted around here. Now we have to walk 2 miles from here to get into the critters. That's where I think the camper, I don't know, it's always a trade-up, right? Because campers, you can't pull into quite the gnarliest places that you can just drive your truck into. But like a small-sized camper that you could just unhitch and leave and make a camp and then keep using your rig to drive around and do some hunting.
Yeah. I've thought about this a lot. This might help you, Justin, certainly making those types of decisions, like dragging a trailer to where we were in the Missouri breaks. I could get my truck around with almost no problem, but I couldn't. Dragging a trailer. Clay Newcomb tried to drag his mules in a trailer and got about a third of the way down the road where we ended up camping. But the GFC, literally, to take down the tent, you just grab the top bar and pull it down and snap it in place, and you're done. You're done. And it's quick. The only thing that I would say that is negative from the couple of days I got to use it is that it's like a bit of a wind sock. Like if you're up on a ridge and it's windy, you're sitting up on top of your truck, and that wind
more
is
exposure.
So you just have to find a place where that exposure's not. Get your wind direction right and kind of park down and get a ridge to block the tent or something like that. Because if you park up on a spine of a ridge or something and try to camp, you're gonna be sleeping in a wind sock. Whereas a tent on the ground, not so much. You could maybe even pull your truck. Sometimes I do to block my tent where the wind's coming from, to block the fire in the tent, to keep the wind from blowing things about. So a lot of things to think of, man. And I know, like Ranella has a camper now, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Like guys like Callahan, he could sleep anywhere. But he sleeps in the back of his truck.
No, all that stuff is fine and dandy until it actually gets cold and shitty and wet out. And then that's when campers and tents with stoves and stuff, you got to, like, if you're not going to get dry and comfy, again, man, that motivation is going to wane real quick. So, maybe look at the 10-day forecast, and do you have a trailer to drag with you if you want to? Justin?
Yeah, we've got access to one.
Yeah.
Our plan was to kind of we've got like a little 12-foot utility trailer. We're just going to, throw coolers and everything we need on there. And, we can, I think most of the area that we're in, we can get close and we can find somewhere to camp that we can get that trailer into and kind of branch off from there.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, if you know that, we were talking about this last week, transient hunting. You kind of have to, you got to know the score before you go, for sure. And I'll tell you, from working at Yeti, most of the questions that I got in terms of coolers is what size cooler fits an elk was probably the number one question I got. I said, well, it depends on how the elk is situated once you've cut it up. But the Yeti 210 is the cooler that I use. I would recommend it to everyone. It is as important as anything. I mean, we've seen guys
deboned.
No, a 210 you could probably. I've gotten deboned front shoulders and 2 on the bone hams with all the rest of the meat in a 210 before. I've never tried all 4 quarters, but I'm pretty sure you can make it happen, depending on how much ice you had, how big an elk it was. But I'm almost sure you can make it happen with the 210. When you couldn't do it with any other size cooler that they have. And where I'm from, in Maryland and Pennsylvania, these guys will hook up a generator and a chest freezer and drag it out on a trailer.
Oh yeah,
pretty commonly.
No, that's a real slick way to do it, man.
Yeah, so you can certainly do that. But if you want to just have a more utilitarian cooler setup, I think a Yeti 210, while expensive, will do the job twice over. So I hope that helps, Justin.
Yeah, it does. Like I said, there's this quick discussion. There's obviously a million different ways to do it, but just kind of curious what works for you guys. And like Ben said, what you would like to do someday. And for us, we're 13 hours from home, so we can't just run to the garage and grab something if we need it. We got to haul it all. So we're just curious different ways to do it, different storage solutions, and those are definitely some good ideas to run with.
Beautiful, man. Well, once you get it dialed in, it feels good. You kind of know what you have to do and what you need to bring and don't need to bring. It takes a couple of times to dial that in, but once you get there, it feels good. So thanks for calling in to Ask the Eagle, man. Good luck, and let us know how she goes.
Will do. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great week.
All right, Justin. See you, bud.
Good luck.
Thanks. Bye.
Hello, this is Trent.
Trent, Ben O'Brien, Jani Putelis, and Phil T. Engineer.
What's up, Trent?
What's going on?
Say hey, Phil.
Hey, Trent. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good. We catch you at a good time?
Yeah.
Great, man. We have the Eagle here, Janis Putelis. He's ready and waiting to answer any query you might have. So fire away.
Hey, good morning.
Morning, Trent. What's on your mind?
So I had a pretty gnarly knee injury this summer, and I have a few plans for hunting this fall, but looks like I'm not going to be able to make it out. I was wondering, what's your recommendation for still getting out and enjoying fall, but also knowing that I'm not really walking on unpaved surfaces and getting back deep.
So you got some tags in your pocket, but you're limited. To how far you can go from the truck. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I got a buck tag, I got a doe tag, and a swan tag burning a hole in my pocket, but I'm not walking too far.
I see. How far are you going to be able to walk by the time it's hunting season?
A couple 100 yards, maybe.
A couple 100 yards.
Because you can only walk on paved surfaces?
Supposed to. I can do whatever I want, but yeah. I'm supposed to be.
So going up and down hills is not recommended?
No.
Yeah. Well, your swan tag, that shouldn't be too hard, right? You just got to get a blind that's close enough to where someone can get the truck close to your blind and walk over there. So we won't even address that. I'm hoping you got that one figured out. As far as your your deer tags go, though, I think you need to figure out, you need to do some truck scouting, obviously, and I think this is going to be a good way for you to really get better at reading sign, because we all know that animals walk on roads, they cross roads, and when I say roads, I'm talking like Forest Service, not quite 2 tracks, but you know what I'm talking about, just a gravel Forest Service road, and find those crossings, man, look for them, and then look at your onX, look at the terrain features around, see what that crossing is going to and from. Is there bedding area nearby or some water below the road, maybe a saddle that is going from that crossing over to a saddle. Who knows what it might be, but I think just, learn your zone as best as you can by just peeking out your truck window and looking down at the dirt road. There's sign all over it.
Oh yeah.
And then, try to find those kind of pinch points and funnels and places where animals travel that are just close to those roads. Like I said before, a saddle, man. Like, critters love using saddles, and there are definitely roads that go through saddles, under saddles, near saddles, that you could probably,
Can you explain a saddle? Like, give people the general...
Yeah, sure. Saddle comes from, like the saddle on a horse, but basically a low point on a ridge that on either side is going to have higher points. So the animals are simply taking the path of least resistance when they're needing to cross a ridge. I mean, sometimes you're talking about crossing a whole mountain range, and you're going to look for a major saddle, which at that point is called a pass through the mountains, right? But smaller versions of that and the environment always are, good places to catch critters. Seems like anytime I'm hunting new country, I roll through a saddle, I'm like, man, this looks like a good place to hunt. Like 1 out of 2 times you look up in a tree and someone has a tree stand set up in that saddle, right? Or you see some remnant of somebody had hunted there in the past. Well, it's because they're always good spots. But yes, you could, look for that, funnels, whether it's, a big piece of timber that necks down into some smaller timber, water near your roads, would be a good place to just, because you're going to have to take more of a stand hunter approach, I think, this fall, right? You're not going to walk far. You're going to go and sit, and you need to just be sitting where the critters are going to walk through. The other thing I was thinking too that you can employ is, I don't know what kind of friends and family you have that might help you out for this rough hunting season you got coming up, but have them orchestrate some drives.
Yeah.
Right? Like same thing, man. Yeah. You're sitting up in that saddle that critters are using, and figure out where the nearest bedding area is to that saddle, and see if you can't get some, friends and family to walk through there for you and get some animals on their feet and move through there. And that might work out for you.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot, actually.
I'll tell you what, if there's been many people do what we call road hunt and be very, very successful, yours truly included in that, especially when it comes to antelope in Wyoming and things of that nature. I think you just kind of adopt some of those strategies, which is be in the truck and be moving and be glassing, and eventually you'll find a deer somewhere near a spot you can get to. And as Jani said, you pattern it from there and then get yourself, I've been really impressed recently with this First Light Nemo. I don't know the real name of it, but I call it the swingy chair. Mm-hmm. You ever sat in one of those, Jani?
Yeah, I think it's isn't it like a stargazer?
Stargazer.
Yeah.
I call it, my son and I call it the swingy chair, because you can sit in this thing. I don't know if it specifically would work for your injury, Trent, but it works for me. It's like it just makes me feel enveloped in a beautiful, very comfortable material. And is that what it's called, Jani? You looking it up?
I didn't.
The First Light. I think you're right. I think it's called the Stargazer, but
it would be wonderful.
Yeah, it would be wonderful for you. It's wonderful for me. You may put it by the road and just sit in it and get yourself some coffee or whatever beverage you like, and just enjoy the day. And maybe a deer will walk by.
Ben, he's trying to kill something, man. Not
maybe
get a suntan.
Yeah, maybe that's why all my tags are yet.
Yeah, it's the Stargaze recliner luxury chair.
See, luxury chair, and you've been through a lot, Trent. You need a little luxury in your life. This isn't some products I just fall in love with. So how I feel about White Claw, things of that nature. So I'm currently on the Schnee's Beartooth boots and the First Light swingy luxury chair. Nemo.
Yeah, and don't go into it with a positive mindset too, man. And don't think that all the animals are 2 miles back. Everybody else is hiking back there. There's a lot of critters right off the side of the road that watch hunters drive by all the time, and you're just going to have to take that mindset and be knowing that they're there, looking for them and hunting them, and just being a little bit slicker than the average guy that's driving down the road. I think you'll be able to be successful, man.
Anything else for us, Trent? Anything else we can help you with? Phil's here. He's standing by. He knows how to play video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might have a secret code for you that unlocks some level. Are you playing video games while you're out recuperating, Trent?
Nah, they're not for me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, I've got nothing to offer you then.
I've been spending a lot of time at the fly vise, filling up my fly box.
Hey, there you go.
Getting ready for some late winter, early spring dry fly action.
Right on.
Good deal.
Phil might not know, but flies are like these little things that you tie up and use while you're fly fishing to catch trout.
Oh, I was always wondering.
It's meant to look like you'll get to that, and then fisher's safety when you take that.
I appreciate it.
It's a whole class we're
Thanks,
gonna make you
Jani.
take.
Hey, Trent, thanks for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Trent.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
Have a good one.
O'Reilly Auto Parts are in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offer friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for all your maintenance and repairs. If you're confused about what part you need, like what wipers are going to be the best, what replacement headlights are going to be the best, go into O'Reilly and talk to the people that work there, because they're great and they're super friendly, and they'll get you squared away where you walk out knowing you got the right thing. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you never have to worry if you're in a jam. Do you need your windshield wipers replaced? You need a brake light fixed? You need some quick service? They'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in-store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/MeatEater. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/MeatEater. There's nothing like snook hook sets at dawn or catching a tarpon in the moonlight. Find your next fishing trip made easy on fishingbooker.com and experience the magic of the Sunshine State or any other destination on your fishing bucket list. Book a blue water adventure in search of sailfish or go snapper fishing with the kids. With over 6,000 captains and trips to choose from, planning your next one just got a whole lot easier. Download the Fishing Booker app on the Google Play or App Store, or visit them online at fishingbooker.com to book your trip today. You ever get that feeling you're stuck inside staring at screens and a primal urge kicks in? You crave wide open spaces, fresh air, the chance to connect with the land. Well, maybe it's time to find your own piece of the wild, but searching for property can be a maze. That's where land.com comes in. They got millions of listings across the country, from mountain ranches to hidden fishing holes. Their search tools are like a seasoned guide helping you narrow down what you want. Land.com isn't just about buying and selling. It's about finding a place to hunt, fish, explore, or simply sit by a campfire and listen to the crickets. So head over to land.com today to turn one day into today, because trust me, there's nothing quite like the feeling of standing on your own piece of earth.
All right, Phil, our final caller of today is a guest specifically for you that we're going to call. Somebody that's so near and dear to your heart that you have maligned their
Get out of here.
featuring on the show before.
I'm so mad at you.
We're going to call.
You're such a jackass.
We're going to call our good friend Eric Hall right now. And he has some questions for Jani, but he might have something to say to you as well, Phil. It's hard to say.
This is slander.
He's a well-spoken individual, and so we're calling him up.
Hello.
Eric Hall!
Eric, yeah.
This is Ben O'Brien and Phil the engineer and Janis the Eagle Putelis. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Eric?
How's it going?
It's going good.
Jani's trying to get to speak to Jani.
Yeah, you're getting to talk to Jani, but first, Phil has yet to complete his hunter safety, and I need you to. Jani and I have already kind of berated him a bit for that this morning, but we need you to get in there and rough him up a little bit, Eric.
Man, I thought Cal had the perfect advice. Just finish your hunter's head.
That's right. That's right.
Damn it.
Damn it. I mean, Eric Hall is like, the head of all THC listeners, like the captain of the THC listener. And he's
It's
telling
true.
you what
I'd
to
say
do.
he has more authority than Jani or Cal.
Yeah.
Maybe even you. At
Maybe
this point.
even me, yeah.
I'll listen to Eric more than you.
Well, it's good. That's why I'm having him on, because he needs to give you the business here.
Uh-huh.
So, anything
I
else?
agree with Phil, though. I think you're building him up a little bit.
We are beating
right.
him up a little. He was upset, even at the idea that we were going to call you because he knew what I was going to do, I think. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the Eagle. Say hey to Eric Hall, Jani.
Hey, Eric. I hear you.
How you doing, Yanni?
Yeah, I hear you're a regular, man.
I am a regular.
Right on.
Hey, I'm getting to feel a little bit like Barry. I didn't get no dang hat.
Oh, man.
Oh no,
Eric, we take you over Barry.
We would take you any
day of the
day.
week.
We love Barry, but Barry, he's difficult. But it's long due that we send you some sort of item here. So for all the time you spent,
My gosh, yeah, he's got to
Yeah.
have a THC
he's
hat.
got to have a hat or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost to the point where he needs his own custom merch.
Yeah. E Hall.
I'd buy an Eric Hall hat.
Yep.
Yeti
Now
cooler.
you're talking, Phil. Now I feel smart.
Feels smart.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Eric.
It would just say, "Hey Ben."
Yeah,
Hey Ben. Hey Ben. Hey Phil.
It's
Hey, Ben, Eric Hall here.
Yep.
Hey, Ben,
There it is.
Phil, Eric
Phil.
here.
Yeah, that's it. Eric
Eric,
here.
where are you from?
Eric Hall here.
I'm in North Carolina. I hear you come to North Carolina soon.
Yeah, I've got my in-laws are down there in Moorhead.
Okay, yeah, that's why I go to the beach, to Atlantic Beach. If I go to the beach, that's where I go.
Yep.
Fishing's better.
I've been there a few times.
All right, Eric, I like your questions, man. I would like you to start with your second question first. The second question that you wanted to ask first. 'Cause
Okay.
I really like that one.
Yeah, that was, what's a week consist of as far as working for you, Ben, Yanni, and Phil?
Yeah.
I know Phil probably works more than y'all do, but
Well, it's
That's why I don't have time to do hunter safety. I'm too busy cleaning up these guys' messes.
that's why I'm excited about this question, because it's going to give Phil a chance to explain why he hasn't finished yet the hunter safety
Phil,
course.
you want to kick it off, Phil?
Yeah, Phil, take it away. Bud.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, I just like to point out when I got hired here, it's been about a year and a half.
Yep.
I was working on 2 podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I am now working on 5 podcasts,
Yeah.
and I handle the recording of 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
That means you should be getting paid 2.5 times as much.
Have you gotten a raise
Listen,
in that time?
I didn't say it.
Have you gotten a raise during that year and a half?
It's funny you say that, but I have not.
Wow.
Wow.
hey, I'm voting for that raise.
That's right. The listeners, the head of all THC listeners, it's like a union now.
Just go ahead and write into
Human resources. That's MeatEater.com.
But in all honesty, like people think of me, the engineer, as just I just sit around behind this board and I hit a button, and then when the show's over, I hit another button, and that's my job. But recording's actually only about 5% of my job. It's
what?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Okay. After that, I put the files on a computer. I work on a program called Pro Tools. It's an audio editing software.
Wow.
Where I use a series of plugins like equalization, compression,
Whoa.
gating,
Unbelievable.
denoising. I clean up the shows. I edit them down, make them a little bit tighter.
That sounds like the software does all the work.
Yeah.
Nope.
These are like plugins. You didn't create the algorithms or like the code or anything, did you?
Did Michael Jordan create the basketball?
So you're the Michael Jordan. Eric, he's saying he's the Michael Jordan of podcast engineers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
At least for Michael Jordan.
That's right. And I'm also a layer of quality control. My job has many layers, and then when I'm done with that, and I spend time with my kids, I read them books, and then I want to watch it. I want to watch.
He's a good father, is what he's saying, folks. He's a good dad.
I gotta pick and choose what I do with my spare time.
That's right. Eric, you have any other further questions about the plugins that Phil uses for Pro Tools?
Man, what does your typical work week look like?
Well, Jani, I have a hot tub at my house. I start off with 8 hours of hot tub time. No, I wish I did. I got to get a hot tub. Spencer Newhart has a hot tub. He sits. That's what he does every morning. He gets in that
Sounds
hot tub
incredible.
for it does sound
Got to
incredible.
loosen up that back.
Got to get that thing. Got to get limber. No, I do a lot of things. I don't have as set a schedule as one Phil T engineer because I don't have as many deadlines. But I handle this podcast, of course, all the things related to it. I book all the guests and make sure all the things come out right. And, of course, quality control. Not as much as Phil, but I like to listen to what we've said at least once before you guys hear it. So I got that. I got Remy Warren's podcast. Have you heard Cutting the Distance? Remy and I work together on that, so I make sure.
I do.
I make sure that gets out the way it needs to, and has all the copy and has all the editorial control that our company needs to have for Cutting the Distance. So I spend a good bit of time each week working on that. I also do some writing for Cal's Week in Review. So some of the stuff you hear there is written by me. Some of the tail end, like quick hitter news pieces, I write for Cal. Most recently, I think the one that aired today, I can't remember. I won't spoil it for anybody. But a lot of the writing on there, a good bit of the writing and the quick hitter news stuff, that's my contribution. I also am, I don't know what you would call it for Back 40, showrunner for Back 40, director, producer probably. I don't know what the titles are, but kind of lead the creative for Back 40 along with Mr. Mark Kenyon. So that's a lot of work this time of year. We got 6 episodes. We filmed 3. We're editing 2 of them and writing another 3 of them all at the same time.
Man, not to get off on a side note here too hard, but I got to interrupt.
Yeah.
He's got some nice bucks on that
Dude,
place
it's
this
coming
year.
along, baby. I'm excited, man.
Are you going to get to hunt it this year?
No, I didn't write myself into the episodes this year. No, I'm not going to be on any episodes.
Yeah, no, there's a couple bucks that I'd be just super stoked to be.
Oh, man. I mean, from last year where there was like one sick-looking deer walking around, now there is, 8 to 10, nice bucks there. So
yeah, even if it's half coincidence and then half, from the work he's done, like great. I'm very, very happy to see that.
It's clear that some of the work he's done is making a difference. Some of the bedding cover from the burn we did this spring, some of the stuff you'll see in the first couple of episodes of the show is legitimately working. Because a lot of where we're seeing these bucks are in some of the places we've done some work specifically to add some cover for them. And so it's working. So anyway, I'll work on that. We're also working currently on a super top secret documentary possibly. So I'm doing some work on that, trying to get that lined up. That may or may not come out sometime in the future based on one of our podcast episodes. So that hopefully that's titillating. And do some editing and writing for the website, all kinds of other stuff that comes up when it comes up. All right, Jani, get him, buddy.
Eric, I do not have a typical work week ever. It rarely seems like there's 2 of them in a row that are the same. But I can tell you that when I am here in town, and I could call it like my office hours time, I spend a lot of time on pushing the old emails and, going to meetings, talking about creative with people on different projects, whether it's Das Boat, Meat Eater, obviously, Meat Eater Hunts now, which I'm hosting a few episodes of this fall. A lot of work goes into that, writing treatments for those to get everybody on board with, what we expect to see out of each episode. And then when we're done, writing producer notes and then giving those to editors and then working with the editors to then produce a final product, of any kind of media you see. Meat Eater podcast sometimes takes up almost no portion of my time because it's easy podcast fodder that I already know it's in my head. But say we have a lineup of some authors, there's a lot of reading to be done. And I'm reading. The reading, man. So I feel weird sometimes doing it for work, but there's sometimes days when I'll spend just reading, trying to get through a book so that I can sound like a good interviewer and ask some good questions.
I should have put that in my list of things that I do. Read books for the podcast. It is surprising, maybe not surprisingly. It takes a lot of time.
No, it does for sure. But you got to do it because otherwise you're not doing anybody any justice. But a lot of just coordinating and planning, logistics goes into all this stuff, making this media. Just finding places to hunt and making sure that you have location releases and film permits to go hunt those places. And I have a big team that I work with here at Media in production that all help get all that stuff, get all those boxes checked. It's a lot, but I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything else. I just wrote some little paragraph to myself about what I was doing. I should have just pulled that up to answer your question.
I'll tell you what I do Friday about 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock usually. Mm-hmm. I'll crack open a White Claw. Lately it's been watermelon. Yeah, man, just get a
I tried a White Claw. You made me try a White Claw. I mean, I said I got to try one. Man, that thing sucks.
What flavor?
I took the mango because everybody talks about the mango.
It's not for everybody.
Okay.
It's not for everybody.
I'm with you, Eric. I'm not going to give it the full-on sucks, but it's
not for everybody.
Yeah, it's.
Well, there goes our sponsorship.
Yeah, now we thought we had we were just getting ready to sign the contract for the sponsorship.
Yeah, the papers just came in. Too bad. I'll have to throw them out.
And they're going to hear this, and it's going to ruin everything.
Just so y'all like it, you're getting people to try it anyway. But probably 90% of the people are going to like it.
That's
I got a few things to throw in here. I had sent in suggestion for the Meat Eater. I love all the stuff y'all do. I mean, I watch. I've got done with all the Netflix stuff, Das Boat. I mean, Back 40. I watched it all. A lot of the podcasts, but I suggested one time that the Meat Eater make a documentary on the history of hunting, and still waiting on that. And
still waiting on that. Well, now you've said it publicly, we kind of have to do it.
Well, about the market hunting, how it was, and that may be some of the other one, but I couldn't ever get the Stars in the Sky. I haven't ever been able to see that yet.
Oh, that's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix now, Eric. So if you're watching the new
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you learned something.
That's going to help you out because that has a little bit. It has like a 5 or 10 minute bit on some of the history of hunting in there.
Yeah, check that out and then get back to us and see what else you'd like to hear about. Because history of hunting, that's a long, long history. We might have to narrow it down to a certain time period.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
2 million years ago.
Another suggestion I had that when you do the Meat Eater Live podcast, pick one guest. Not that I'm ever going to be on, but it'd be an honor for anybody to do it. Throw your name in the hat when you go in if you want to do it. Pick one guest to come up on the stage and be part of the podcast. I think that would be so cool.
Out of the audience. Pick an audience member to come out of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be like a good way to throw a little wild card into it.
Yeah, if they wanted to. I mean, everybody may not want to do it.
What if we just called you up every time? You just traveled around with us.
I can do it.
Yes, I could do it. I could do it. All right. Well, listen, I like how you turn your questions into suggestions. I do admire. I like that because you finally, Jani. Do you feel like we can do that?
I can't let you down without some commentary.
Yeah, we'll have to run it by the chief.
The chief, Mr. Ranella.
But I think it could be fun.
I like this idea because I like we have Eric Hall on. It works out just fine.
It's great.
He's a great member of the crew. Phil hadn't said anything in 5 minutes. He's over there on his phone.
We put our first clips from the podcast up on YouTube.
Oh, hey, man. Is that Jani?
Yeah.
No kidding. Here you go. Eric, if you want something else to watch, we just posted some podcast clips, the Meat Eater podcast clips on the YouTubes for people to watch.
Okay. Something else to check out.
So, you can see them right where we're sitting.
I got burnt out on a lot of other hunting shows. I mean,
you don't say.
We're full of commercials and stuff. The Meat Eater come along. I thought it was the best hunting show I've ever been on.
Well, Eric Hall's segment on the show is brought to you by WorkSharp. In fact, WorkSharp. Go to WorkSharp's YouTube and check out how to sharpen.
Uh-huh.
Also brought to you by Element.
Thank you, Eric. Those are
Electrolyte drink
that's
mix.
very kind of you to give us such high praise.
Yes, very good shows.
Well, listen, we appreciate you, brother, and we will take those suggestions to heart as always. And we'll probably talk to you next week unless Phil tells me we can't.
See, but here's the thing. Eric hasn't been on for a few weeks, couple months now. And hasn't this been delightful? See, we bring him on.
I don't know. I feel like Eric's a nice guy. He's got stuff to contribute, and you don't want us to have him on every week. You want us to space it out or whatever.
Ben, you're a real piece of garbage.
Well, good to meet you, Eric, man. I look forward to meeting you in person sometime.
Yes, sir.
What about the main question?
We forgot the main question. Well, you got all way off on suggestions.
All right, fire away. You got another one?
Yeah, we'll let you have it. Go for it.
It can be quick.
Quick it up.
Okay, the question was, if you could only have one gun, one caliber, one gauge, one action, one gun to shoot squirrels to moose, what would it be?
If I choose like 12 gauge shotgun, can I have multiple barrels?
Oh.
You're on my track. You're on the right track.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you what mine is.
All right. Well, yeah, that's my answer. Is I'm going to go with 12 gauge because I believe I could kill just about everything with a 12 gauge, especially if you allowed me to have a rifled barrel.
Oh, yeah,
for a slug.
Is that what you were, Eric?
Okay. I was thinking a pump action 12 gauge shotgun, and this is the reason why. You can hunt squirrels, grouse, birds. I can kill a moose with a cut off shell. I guarantee it. Have you ever seen a cut shell?
No.
It's on YouTube. Those things are accurate. But you could kill a moose. I mean, I'm just saying this is all hypothetical.
Sure.
We got slugs. I mean, slugs are real accurate now. I'm just saying, if it come down to it, you could do a cut shell. You can kill a deer all day long. And then you got your birds and you.
Yep.
That's me.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. I like it.
Gun.
I like it.
So I'm just kind of curious what y'all would pick. And I kind of figured Jani would do the 12 gauge.
I was going to say, you were talking about me having a show on a podcast. That's a horrible idea. Eric Hall should have a show.
The Eric Hall show?
Yeah, sure.
It'd be called Eric Hall here. That's all it would be. It would be a call-in show. We're working our way there. I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say one of those double barrels that's a 22 and a 410. That's what I was thinking of. But then I wouldn't be able to.
That's a good. That's kind of an oddball, but yeah, that's a good gun. You can get that thing in the 30-30.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be killing any moose with that. So I feel like Eric, you're in Jani's. I feel like that's the way to go. If you can get a rifle slug barrel, you can take anything from moose to squirrels, and it's no problem.
Very versatile.
Good. I'm glad. I think you asked that question only because you knew you had your own answer.
Well, I wanted to throw my input in too. I mean, I'm part of the show.
That's right. I love it. All right, Eric. Well, have a good week. We'll talk to you probably next week unless Phil nixes it.
It's not true.
Phil, get that hunter's ed done, Phil.
I will, Eric. Wow.
That's right, Phil. Get her done.
All right, Eric. We'll talk to you soon, man. We'll put a hat in the mail, too.
All right. Make sure Jani signs it and you.
We'll do that. All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. He's my favorite, Jani.
He is.
Yeah.
So you have other regular callers or no?
We have some.
Some.
Nobody as robust as Eric Hall.
Yeah. Right. No, that guy's a gem.
Yeah. The other. We have others that the folks that got engaged that called in and different things. I always forget people's names and how to pronounce them. We have Elias Torheiden as a regular emailer. I just like that because I like his name.
No, I could tell, man. I'd like to, do some hunting, have a beer with old Eric, and
other regular listeners. I would shout out Don Willamont. He's never been on, but he always emails in, and I do enjoy his emails. Although I don't know how many we've read, but I do enjoy Don. I do enjoy your emails.
Eric came prepared, which is very nice.
Eric, he rocks it.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
That's before you even got the answer out. Oh my Lord! All right, well, we're gonna keep you guys updated on our hunting. What's the hunting from now? I know you have the hunt with your dad.
What I have coming up?
Yeah, what else you got? October. October's about to begin.
Yeah, we're going antelope hunting in Wyoming with a very special guest. Keep an eye on everybody's Instagram here in the first week of October. You guys will see who we're hunting pronghorn with in Wyoming. It's going to be super fun. That's going to be a meat eater episode. Then I got a pronghorn hunt with my brother-in-law. It's going to be a meat eater hunts episode.
Nice.
Which I have to hunt a unit that has a whole bunch of private land that's very difficult to get on, let alone get filming permission on. And
where is it?
Oh, God.
You tell me later. Tell me later. I have some ideas.
South Central Montana.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be difficult to say the least, because the National Forest in this unit, I was in it last weekend. It's not pronghorn country.
Central. You'll tell me where. I have some ideas about that.
I will. But and then I have my big Montana bull elk hunt where I drew a special tag, and I've got 10 days set aside to go find me a big one.
I gotta figure out points in Montana, because I know you can buy them up to September 30th.
Yeah, you better get after it.
I gotta get after it because I'm gonna need these points. Well, Phil and I will offer our backs and our legs to help you pack out if you kill one.
Well, it's 4 hours away.
That's right.
You're more than welcome to come and help.
Phil was telling me the other day, he's like, I would love to spend more time with you in a truck for an 8-hour round trip. I was like,
hey, that was between us.
No, sorry. Sorry. But anyway, I'm just going to keep trying to fill tags. I got an antelope tag in Wyoming, and I got all the tags in Montana that just don't seem to want to go. Or I got an Idaho deer tag.
Focus on that Montana bull. Man, that's what you got to do.
Man. I'm going to do it.
You got a lot of time left.
You look out there on the Instagram and you see all the success. What this show is going to show you, and what my Instagram is going to be the failures, okay? And
but
that's
you gotta remember,
just as important.
You got to remember, man, that all those successful pictures, I don't know what the national elk
Well, we've been throwing out this number of 10%.
I bet it's 10 to 20. It's somewhere in there. I've heard lately, in the last 5 years, that biologists are saying that the success rate is going up because people are getting good and equipment's getting better. But either way, whether it's 80% or 90%, people are in the same boat as you are.
Yep.
And going home empty-handed, tired and worn out. And that's one of the beauties of elk hunting.
It is. I'm your champion. We're going to talk about here, like in our roundtable, about wound loss and wounding animals and archery and all the things that go into that. And we'll talk about all that. We'll kind of cover off on our own personal experiences, what it feels like when you're sitting up overnight thinking about, is this bull dead? Is this buck dead? Whether or not, even in Phil's situation, when you introduce somebody to hunting, is that the best way to do it? Or, as we've probably talked about it in this show and other shows, is it better to take them out on a duck hunt or a squirrel hunt or a rabbit hunt or something that is a bit more interactive and has a success ratio that's, it's multitudes. So it could be that you miss the first rabbit, but another one runs by and you kill it. It's not one single tag, as it is with an elk or a deer or something like that. So we'll cover all of that. I think that's certainly important to us, to me, and it's relevant now because people are going out there and trying their best to fill tags. And how much I trust those numbers about success, I don't know, but I certainly know that there is a threshold where when you cross it, you have that set of skills to be successful at whatever the pursuit it is. You should be able to replicate that success. But you have to get to that threshold and cross it. That takes time, dedication. It takes a lot of stuff to get there.
A lot of time.
And even like you said, that I think is probably a poignant moment there. Even when you cross that threshold and you get to the point where you think you're very capable in this pursuit, something happens and knocks you back a few, and you feel like you have to retread all the steps you've taken to get to that point. So a lot to do, THC. At some point soon, we'll have a very interesting conversation with Paul Bashir, one of the top animal rights activists around, and someone who you're going to want to hear from. And so we will make a decision whether to give you what Phil would probably call the shitty audio or wait for the good audio. But at some point in the next couple of weeks, you're going to get it one way or the other. You're also going to get our awesome roundtable on wounding, loss, the personal and more data-driven aspects of that. Fred Eichler coming up, talking about being a guide, talking about getting the slam with his stick bow, his traditional bow, all kinds of stuff coming up on THC in October. Stick with us. We'll see you next week. Say bye, Phil.
See ya.
Too long, 'cause I can't go a week without doing wrong. Without doing wrong. Without doing wrong. Without doing wrong. Drinking in heaven.
You ever get that feeling the walls closing in, the concrete jungle suffocating you? You crave some wide open spaces, the chance to connect with nature, maybe in a spot all your own. Well, head over to land.com. They've got ranches, forests, mountains, streams, you name it. Search by acreage. You can search by location. You can search by the kind of hunting and fishing you're dreaming of. Land.com. It is where the adventure begins. Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Jani, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24th, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.